Hi, I'm Ashley with Campbell. Thanks for investing your time to help your community be a great place to live. Before you watch the video, make sure to click the subscribe button so that we can help you make educated decisions as a board member.
And thank you to all the participants who have taken the time out of their day on their lunch break to join me to talk about how to choose the right internet provider. I am the Director of Community Association Relations for Hotwire Communications. In 2002, Hotwire Communications was the first telecommunications company to invest in own, operate, and install a 100% fiber to the home infrastructure. And this future-proof technology makes us the only company that is now offering up to 10 gigs to the home, and we service communities like yours. And the benefits are that we build, own, and operate, and we are here to provide you with a community channel as well. So let's get started and learn more about what is going on with telecommunications and how to go about choosing the right internet provider. Okay. So this class is approved for a 1-hour continuing education credit for HR. I'm sorry, for operations. That is an error. Thank you. Or an elective. So community association managers and board of directors, you are all the unsung heroes. You have a very important role, and that is to make sure that you provide the top-notch services for your community. And I know what it's like because I managed for over 20 years. It's a lot of hard work, and it takes a lot of skill to efficiently run and manage your property. So I'm hoping that today you'll have some takeaways and you'll be able to learn more about how to choose the right internet provider. As Director of Community Association Relations here at Hotwire, I have been here for about 3 years. I was a fan of Hotwire, and I had them on my properties because of the high level of service. Like I said, I have 20 years of experience in managing associations. I'm also an adjunct professor at Palm Beach State College. I teach the CAM pre-license course. I'm also a published author of Common Sense Community Management, and I've been contributing writer for the Florida Community Association Journal, and also their program director for the CFCAM designation. This class does highlight some things that I do have in my book.
Hey, Marcy, you may want to switch it real quick. You may want to switch it to slideshow mode because we're seeing like all of the slides instead of just one big slide. See where it says slideshow? Just
bear with me. I didn't
problem. See on your toolbar where it says slideshow? Right next to like at the top. So it says animation, slideshow, record.
Yeah,
see it?
Yeah.
That way they see one screen at a time. So hit from beginning.
Okay. Thank you. I thought we were on that. So let's do that again. All right. Are we back in action here?
I'm still seeing like it in the presenter kind of mode with everything. So let's see if you click that. I mean, we're seeing it, but just, it's good sometimes if you can see just the main screen.
Yes, absolutely. And how's that? No?
No, I mean, I'm still seeing the whole thing. I mean, we're seeing it, so I think it's all right, but just,
No,
it's
okay. Well, I'm having little technical difficulties here, so bear with me.
Yeah, it looks like it wants to work, but it's
let's start over.
Yeah, because I'm just seeing all of it, I'm not just seeing just
we don't want to do that. We want the viewers to be able
see it big. Yep. So what, maybe just try to reopen it.
I apologize for the delay here. So we just got a new computer, so technology, you gotta love it. How's that?
Perfect. 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 Looks good.
All right, fantastic. Thank you, Ashley, and thank you to all of you patiently waiting for us to get started here. All right. Are we good? We're on the next slide. Are you still seeing the main slide?
I'm seeing the main one, but I am, yep, there you go. And it's moving now. You're
Okay,
good to go.
we're good. All right. Thank you very much. So we are going to go over some of these things. We're going to review the importance of a reliable network and infrastructure, identify what your residents need, understand the basics of telecommunications and what is an ISP. Well, ISP stands for Internet Service Provider, and understand what the services are and your contract. How do you differentiate a vendor from a partner? Review the proposal and decision-making process and contract considerations and what to keep in mind. And we're going to highlight what you and your residents can expect post-contract execution, most important. So let's talk about the technology revolution. And the internet is considered a utility now in our industry. I remember the days of dial-up. How many of you remember that? And we thought that was really cool. Well, nowadays, your residents' households probably host about 10 to 15 devices, such as laptops, cell phones, gaming consoles, smart TVs, all kinds of gadgets, their Nest thermostats, even robot vacuum cleaners. We're even seeing refrigerators. They let you know when you're out of eggs. So as a board and as a manager, you're getting on board. You're doing everything you can to keep up with the times and the demands of the residents. And the pandemic totally changed everything. All of us learned how to use Zoom, and it was a great tool for us to be able to stay connected. And a quarter of US workers are now working entirely from home or in some sort of hybrid situation. And a lot of businesses are offering flexible schedule options. These are the types of internet. So like I said, the dial-up was the slowest, is now the slowest connection. I don't really know anyone that's using dial-up. It really can't support broadband, and it does have limited bandwidth because of its technological limitations. It's almost obsolete. And then you have satellite internet, which is delivered wirelessly to the receiver, but it still requires wires to transport that signal from the receiver to different locations throughout your building. And because it's wireless, it's available almost anywhere in the United States. Satellite internet has bandwidth comparable to DSL and cable, but it can often feel very slow due to the latency. And then DSL, well, that's a connection that looks similar to a phone line. And that wiring is inside, and it's different and allows for the broadband transmission. And it's much faster than dial-up. And some of the current telephone companies that provide internet service are actually doing away with this technology. And then cable internet uses the same types of cables that transmit cable TV services, and their capability can reach high speeds, and usually through current or former cable TV providers in the respective areas. Most of those are coaxial cables that are being used. And then fiber, which seems to be the most widely available internet technology now, uses fiber optic cables, which can transmit large amounts of information quickly. And while fiber is fast, it isn't available in all areas. And sometimes you have to wait and see whether that network infrastructure is going to be available to you. Now, if you go with a provider that does specifically servicing community associations, then it would be a bulk internet contract. The need for speed. So how do you use the internet? Well, here's some examples of how many megabytes per second it takes. And checking your email, it's about 1 to 5. Streaming music on one device, searching on Google, social media. And I get this question a lot. The difference between internet bandwidth versus speed. So internet speed and bandwidth are often used interchangeably, but they're not exactly the same thing. If the internet is a road, picture you driving down 95 and the data are the cars. The speed is how fast the cars travel, and the bandwidth is the number of open lanes. So say you have 100 data cars all going the same speed. You'll get your data faster if those cars are traveling on a 5-lane highway versus a 1-lane back road. So upload speeds tell you how fast you can send data out to the internet, and while the download speeds tell you how fast you can pull the data from the internet. Well, fiber optics to the home provide a dedicated connection, and at peak times, no one is sharing. Basically, you are having your own connection. And when you're looking for a provider, you want to find out if they're going to provide you symmetrical speeds. And what does that mean? That means that the upload and the download are the same speed. And here's some other examples of how many megabytes per second it takes to stream HD video on multiple devices. Multiplayer online gaming and downloading large files takes about 25 to 35 megabytes per second. So future proofing, that seems to be a hot word right now. So what is future proofing fiber optics? Well, fiber is a single incredibly thin strand, but it's highly durable, and it can be either glass or plastic thread that transmits data at the speed of light. And the cool thing about it is that fiber is future-proof, meaning it can grow with the ever-changing demands. I mean, one time it's installed, then there's limitless upgrade capabilities. And the speeds now are up to 10 gigs. I mean, this is the fastest way to transmit data. And the cool thing about this is, I mean, here in South Florida, everything is so highly corrosive, and fiber is weatherproof, and it never deteriorates, and it's really capable of withstanding all the weather conditions here in South Florida. So that means that the fiber lines installed today will still be fully operational decades into the future. We're finding that fiber really enhances property values. Home values with the fiber connection are over 3% greater, while transaction prices are over 7% higher where there's 1 gig or more available. And the Fiber Broadband Association found that fiber increased the rental and property values for MDUs by 8% and 2.8% respectively. So if your community does not have fiber and your community neighbor next door does have fiber, most likely the prospective buyer is going to use that as a deciding factor when they're purchasing. The importance of a reliable and fast internet connection. So everything is automated now. I mean, we're hearing about fiber optic technology, everything's wireless connectivity, and having access is becoming increasingly popular. And I would say that when you're searching for your new internet provider, make sure that they own, operate, and install a dedicated independent fiber network backbone in all its core markets, and make sure that they connect directly to your community so there's no sharing. And confirm that they offer fiber to the home. What is fiber, true fiber to the home? Well, that is end-to-end fiber optic infrastructure that allows them to offer that gigabyte speed over 100 times faster than the average connection delivered in the United States. And by directly installing that fiber into every home, ensure that they guarantee full service redundancy. And you're going to hear me talk about redundancy a lot. And that means that there's no interference under normal conditions, no bottlenecks, no drop-offs in speed, and unlimited use without data caps. So redundancy means if something goes down, there's going to be a backup. So how do you find out what your residents need? Well, I always say it's great to do surveys, and this way you can poll your residents to find out what you're really going to need to look for. Before you even start looking for a service provider, you need to know exactly what your residents need. A good place to start is by getting an idea of what they use their current internet services for. How do they feel that the current service is working for them? Do they feel that it's falling short? Are they seeing that there's throttling? Do they see that at certain peak times that it's slowing down? I mean, over the past few years, one of the most important things as a CAM is considering your internet service. And especially because it is a fourth utility and because many of us are streaming. So as a board member, as a manager, it's really important to get on the technology revolution. And I know some people are afraid of it, but don't be afraid of it, because this is something that it's going to actually make your life a lot easier. So how are your community association residents consuming their TV, internet, and media today? How will they do it tomorrow? What is influencing your choices? What is the impact of the internet in your association? Maybe you have fob access control. Maybe you have gate access. Maybe you have TVs throughout the common areas. Do you have movie nights? What is the actual landscape, and what are the future needs for your community? So as a manager, your role is to introduce and facilitate innovative technology, increase efficiency, improve the operations, reduce the liability, and improve the communications to protect the association. I can tell you, when I was managing high rises and I was proposing fob access control, because it had just come out and a lot of people were reluctant to change. And a lot of the board members said, oh, what do we need that for? Well, can you imagine your life now without having some sort of fob access control or any type of gate access control, scan tag systems? All that works over the internet. So let's move on to the next slide. So a good internet service provider is going to offer you options. They're going to give you levels of speed. They're going to offer HD, 4K capable, internet protocol, TV, voice, and home security and automation. And a lot of the high-end communities, they're finding that they need it for everything, even running their security surveillance. And it's all about reliability, right? So I would say there's some really important factors that you should consider when you're choosing an internet service provider. What type of connection are they offering? What's the speed? What's the bandwidth? What's the cost? What type of contract do they offer? Do they offer a service level agreement where there's language in there that protects you? Reliability, and what type of customer support are they going to offer? Do they have their customer service based in the US? Are you going to be calling another country? Are they available 24/7? Are they going to give you a dedicated account manager that's going to be there to visit you every couple weeks as a manager that you can just pick up the phone and call? And what is their on hold time? That's very important. Also, a lot of these providers and a lot of companies have what's called a net promoter score. Find out what that is. So here are 5 things to keep in mind when you're looking for an internet service provider. You want to have a partner, someone that is going to service you, and your residents need to feel that they are going to get that high level of service. Once it's installed, do they just go away? Is there an education department that's able to help some of your senior residents that may not have the knowledge or the understanding of how to use the remote, how to navigate through the menus. So make sure you do your due diligence. And I always say that don't go with anyone that is going to give you some sort of deal and then walk away and not have that support. So do your due diligence. Before you even start looking, you need to know exactly what your residents need. Maybe their connectivity is unreliable and it's resulting in unstable Zoom calls. Maybe there's just poor streaming. Find out exactly what they need. Find out how many residents are working from home, how many are day traders, how many are gamers. Find out if the company is going to give you that white glove service, that concierge level. Build the relationship. And is it going to be, I mean, some of these contracts are 10 years, so it is like a marriage. You may have some experts in your community that are going to assist you. Maybe someone that's been in telecommunications. Maybe you want to form a committee, get them involved. This way you get the buy-in of the residents, and you may want to consult with an expert to help you save time. You want to properly vet every single one of them. And here are some things that you want to do. You want to pick a partner that actually is going to meet the needs of your community. So make sure that they are serving communities. Get a list of the surrounding communities that they've serviced and make some calls. Find out if those people are still happy with the service and would they refer this company. Find out if they specifically serve community associations or they just do a mailbox here, a mailbox there, because community associations are a different animal. Those impressive references that you reach out to, you're going to want to ask them questions. And I'm going to get to another slide that's going to give you an in-depth look at every single question that you could possibly imagine. And these were questions that I ended up coming up with along the way in the years that I've been doing this. And I think you'll find them very helpful. So fiber is future-proof, like I said, and it is incredibly durable. And it is something that you should definitely consider. And according to the National Apartment Association, apartment rental value can increase up to 11% if gigabyte speed fiber to the unit connectivity is present. So don't be afraid to make the switch. I find that a lot of residents are reluctant to make the switch. A lot of managers and boards are reluctant to make the switch because they feel that it's going to cause a disruption in their daily lives. But find out if the company is going to give you an on-site crew that's going to be there every day during the launch process. Find out if they're going to meet the needs that your residents have. So it may be time to start thinking about the switch and realize that if you choose the right provider, it's not going to be a burden or a headache on you. Bulk versus retail. So the difference of a partner versus a vendor. So we've established that it's important to pick the right partner, and there's something equally important to consider. What kind of service agreement should your community sign? Of course, we always recommend you get your attorney involved, and we want you to consult with your attorney. But bulk service agreements, they bundle numerous services all together. And that encompasses the contract for the community. Where in a retail service space, there's where everyone is just paying on their own and everyone has their own separate service provider. Essentially, they may be paying too much, but in a bulk service agreement, they're going to see a significant savings. So the benefits of bulking are this. You're going to get twice the speed of the standard internet at basically half the price. If your residents are paying retail, they're probably paying for internet and cable separately. But in a bulk agreement, they're going to get all of that bundled. A 100% fiber optic network that powers our national infrastructure and allows us to provide up to 10 gigabyte speed internet here has been amazing. And now we're looking to deploy 25 gigs. Not that you'll really need that unless you're running a call center in your home. You'll also get a dedicated team of technicians, customer care specialists, account managers. They're all assigned to your property to provide that local boots on the ground leadership and support. Find out if the provider is going to give you a concierge level approach to supporting each and every resident with a seamless, best-in-class experience. You want to know that you can just pick up the phone and call and you'll get someone. Continuous innovation. Are they coming out with the latest and the greatest technology? That concierge level of service. Having dedicated project managers, dedicated people that work for the company, that are on the payroll for the company, that they're not subcontractors. Are they going to have a launch team that's going to help you every step of the way and meet one-on-one with the residents to do a one-on-one bill comparison and consultation with the residents to make sure that your residents are going to get exactly what they need, and then have the opportunity to look at other options if they wish to upgrade. Now, the importance of having a community channel is you're going to be able to have a bulletin board to communicate with your residents. Do they offer that? What other forms of ongoing communication are they going to provide? Are you going to have to be the one sending out letters and email communication to your residents, or do they handle that on your behalf? Will they perform a town hall meeting to educate all the residents about what's coming, the who, what, when, where, and how? Will they launch events and have welcome kits? Will they provide you with a customized community website? Are they going to be committed to quality? What type of in-home installation are they going to provide? Are they going to provide you education and training throughout the entire contract for no additional charge? Do they have an entire department that's going to provide you education? Are they local? Is it a privately owned company? How long have they been in business? And how long have they had the same owner? And what is their response time? Does the provider provide you a true partnership, in-person, virtual, ongoing education? Do they offer either in-person, virtual, or by phone? Or are they going to tell you, unplug the box, wait 30 seconds, and plug it back in? Do they have the opportunity to remotely log in with your permission to see what's going on? If residents saying, well, I see squiggly lines on the TV, and this happened yesterday at 4 o'clock, do they have the ability to go back and see whether or not there were squiggly lines and why there were squiggly lines? And will they provide training on replay TV? Replay TV is probably one of my favorite features, because if you miss something without a DVR, you can still go back and see a show up to 72 hours. Do they have cloud DVR? What happens if the set-top box gets fried? What happens if it just dies? Do you have to go and change out the box? Will they come to you for no charge and give you a new box? And then what happens to all your shows that you've recorded? Have you lost them, or are they in the cloud? Do they offer video on demand? And do they have a community portal? And what type of guide do they have? Can you customize your television guide so you can go back to some of those favorite shows that you like to watch? And do they have an opportunity for you within the guide where it recognizes your habits and what you like to watch? Are you able to use a voice remote? So here we go. There's a lot of questions here, and I'm not going to have time to go over all of them. But as I said, I came up with these questions not only as a manager, but as a regional director, and being a passionate person for technology and television, I thought this would be great to jot these down and help share the knowledge. So again, I'm not going to be able to go over all of them today, but you will get a copy of the slide presentation. So, does your association currently have a bulk agreement for internet, television, and or phone services in place? And if so, take a look at when that contract is going to expire. We always advise that you should look at that and start looking at your options within 24 months. It really takes time to evaluate all your options for your residents and your common areas. And does that agreement provide for an access or easement agreement? And if so, what are those options? Does the agreement offer an introductory promotional rate for the first year? Are there any door fees? What type of increases are they going to have in that contract? How long is the agreement going to run? And does the service provider offer a service level agreement defining the service requirements? In other words, if they don't answer you within a certain amount of time, the clock starts ticking, and then you're going to be getting a credit because they haven't responded. Make sure that your service level agreement outlines all of those terms. And again, we always say, talk to your attorney to make sure that those terms protect you. Does the service provider define ownership of the hardware, the home run wiring, and wiring inside the unit? Do they own, operate, install their own fiber infrastructure? You don't want any of this finger pointing because they're leasing their fiber. So if they own it and there is a fiber cut and someone didn't call 811, call before they dig, do they have technicians that are able to come and service you, that are familiar with your property, that are on their payroll, and that are going to be out there right away? How much space is available in your telecom room? How many different paths to the building can the fiber take? Will they be able to offer redundancy? Do you have sufficient power for the fiber optic technology? Will that be something that they have to install for you? Are they going to charge you for it? I mean, who is going to pay? I would say have your CPA review your governing documents to determine how are your assessments going to be apportioned across the community. And what are the fees to lease or purchase the equipment? How many boxes are they going to give you? How much is it going to cost to add additional boxes? Are there any startup costs? Are there any installation costs? And what are the fees for a truck roll if a technician has to come out for a non-related company service call? Does the service provider offer any temporary suspensions for those that are seasonal residents? And what type of incentives are they offering? Are they going to give you any door fees? Will they give you, or in lieu of that, will they give you a better rate? And find out, most importantly, are those employees of the provider? So I pretty much went over all of them, but there's more. So let's touch on some of these. Does the service provider offer the latest and greatest Wi-Fi based mesh network solution? We're seeing that a lot of people are very dependent upon Wi-Fi. The internet, like I said, are the internet speeds symmetrical? And how many routers are they going to give you? And what type of routers are they going to give you? So what type of channel lineup? I can tell you that Turner Movie Classics seems to be a favorite for many of our customers. Do they offer that, or is that something that's not included? Take a look at the digital lineup that you currently have, because you don't want to take away anything that your residents currently have If anything, you want to enhance what they have. And see if they have DVR capability and whether or not it's in the cloud. And my game changer was the community channel. The community channel was something that helped me during hurricanes. I was able to send a priority message on the screen, and the residents had to acknowledge it. You could have a ticker tape going at the bottom or just take over the screen, and they had to acknowledge that they read that message. So whether it be for hurricane or if you're going to have a water shutdown or road closures, the community channel is your bulletin board, another communication tool. And do they offer phone service? And if they do they offer international calling? What type of features are included? A resident survey. So when you're looking for a new service provider, I suggest conducting a resident survey. This is a really good place to start, and it's going to help you understand what the needs are for each and every resident and what their preferences are. Learn about some of the challenges that they're having. Are they seeing that big circle at 5 o'clock when everyone's home? Are they seeing that everything is just throttling and slowing down with the current provider? So you want to gain insight on what their wants and needs are and what their expectations are. So here's some examples of some questions that you can ask your service. You can ask your residents about the service provider. Who is your current provider? Approximately how much are your monthly charges for internet, TV, and phone service? If they're on a retail basis, you're going to see a significant savings. They're going to just love you. You're going to look like a hero. How happy are you with the current service provider? Do you experience frustration with your internet connection, such as slow speeds, frequent outages, or limited bandwidth? And if a new provider could offer better rates and services for all residents, would you be interested in switching from your current provider? These are just some questions. Now, when it comes time to do an RFP, or request for a proposal, when you're seeking out an ideal service provider for your community, you want the selection process to be apples to apples. And I know we talk about soliciting bids, apples to apples, but don't always look at the bottom line, because not all providers are the same. Some may not be offering fiber. Some may not be fiber capable to the home. Some may just have coaxial. So you really want to clearly outline what the needs are when you're going out for bid. Some of the factors are bandwidth, reliability, scalability, and other specific features or services you may require. I say make a list of what's on your wish list, and once you get that survey, and what's on your residents' wish list. And you want to secure offers from different types of providers, so you can get a taste of what each one is offering. An RFP really makes it easier to compare the rates and finding the right partner for your project. So you want to standardize this format by evaluating your proposals and possibly getting a committee involved, or you and your board work closely in identifying all the different offerings. And you want this to be a fair selection process, and be very transparent with your residents and be very fair. And ask if the provider will come out and do a town hall and give a presentation of what they're offering. And that way you can be open and transparent with your residents and have the Q&A right there. And this will help your residents feel much more comfortable when it comes time to making that switch. I know when it comes to making change, a lot of residents are very reluctant to change. So, contracts. Here's some information about HOAs that you can enter into a contract, but then there's some, there was some question that someone came up, that something came up that someone had asked me about a developer that entered into a contract. And it can be canceled by a majority of the voting interest present at a special meeting. So I did put that in there because someone asked me that question. But the board has the authority to enter into a telecommunications bulk contract. And these contracts are constantly evolving. So negotiating a contract that protects your residents and your property values takes a lot of time and understanding and education. So by you taking the initiative of being on this call today, it shows that you're interested in learning all about what it takes to ensure that your contract is going to protect you and going to provide you with a high level of service. So you want to determine what makes sense when you're upgrading your existing infrastructure, because you want to make sure that it's future-proof and that there's information in your contract that's going to provide you with everything that you need for the future. Now, what happens if a community signs a long-term contract and the provider fails to meet their needs? I mean, the only options are either to break the contract, usually it's at a great financial cost, or to simply just wait it out several years until the contract expires and a new service provider can be signed. These contracts are usually very hard to break, but if you can prove breach of contract and you can get to the high level supervisors to make good on it, really that's what you need to do until you find a new service provider. And what is the length of the contract? When you're signing with any bulk service provider, I mean, they have to recoup the cost of the infrastructure. So typically it's a minimum of 2 years, but often they're about 10 years now with the way things are going. So what are the service level agreement standards? Well, SLA, you'll hear that a lot in our world. And what that means is that you want to have that SLA indicate that the service level is at the highest level and that they're going to be reliable and they're going to be responsive. So in that agreement, you're going to determine and have your attorney determine what is a fair and reasonable amount of time to respond. Is it going to be same day, next day? And how are they going to respond? Are they going to monitor everything? Are they going to report everything when something goes down? Are they going to isolate the situation? Everything should be outlined in that service level agreement. What are the repercussions if they're not meeting their commitment and not meeting the contract obligations? All of that, the level of service, the delivery of the service for your residents should be outlined in the SLA. So this is what you should expect from your bulk service provider. Entering into a bulk service agreement, it's really much more than signing a contract. It is a marriage. Like I said, it is a relationship. You are partners. I always say you're only as good as the people that you hire and that surround you. So that customer experience, your customer, your resident, they want to know that they're going to get the highest level of service. The dedicated project manager at the start, at the launch process, is there going to be someone on the property every day? You don't want a company that's spread too thin or they subcontract their project managers. You want to have that level of service. That is very important. The launch process, it's when everyone is wondering, how is this going to go? And how long is it going to take? Are they going to meet with you on a regular basis? And then once it turns over from the launch process to the operations, will you have a dedicated account manager? That's the person that's going to be your partner for the term of the contract, for the life of the contract. Ongoing communication, letters and email communication, town hall meetings, launch events and welcome kits, and that customized community website. Commitment to quality, the in-home installation and surveys, quality assurance, in-home education and training, rapid response and issue resolution. You want to expect that you're going to get that ongoing support and communication. Expect those town halls and open tables. What if you have a group of residents that come back and they forget how to use everything? Or maybe they just want to upgrade, or maybe there's new channel lineups. Have a conversation with the provider. Will they provide you with an open table session? Will they be there for a couple of days to meet one-on-one with the residents? And expect that they are going to have those people that are dedicated construction workers that are employees of the company. They're not subcontractors. Are the fiber techs employees of the company? Are the technicians employees of the company? Because if you have a technician come and they can't figure it out because he's some subcontractor, then he says, oh, I'll have to come back tomorrow. But actually they're going to send somebody, they may end up sending someone else because they have him on another job. Having those dedicated individuals that are employees of the company, very important. Are they going to stick to their installation timelines? What type of communication are they going to have? So expect those dedicated teams for your community. So I want to thank you all for giving me this opportunity to present to you all about how to choose your internet provider. And I can tell you that as a manager, I worked with all the providers, and I was probably the biggest fan when it came to Hotwire, because Hotwire was always there for me. Hotwire was a partner. Hotwire was a company that was dedicated to serve the needs of my residents. So thank you very much. There's a poll that is here, and I think we have time for Q&A, Ashley, if we want to go through some of those questions.
Yeah, absolutely. And just a few housekeeping items in case, people do need to jump off, like Marcy said, and thank you so much, Marcy. It was great. But I did launch a poll, so if you could please take that so we can get your feedback. As long as you were on here and stayed for the duration, I'll be able to see that in the attendee report. I'm going to share that with Marcy so that she can get everyone their credits issued and their certificates. I will be emailing out the presentation and also a copy of the video recording and our future classes. So that will come later today via email. And with that, yeah, if we want to go ahead and answer some questions, do you want me to read them to you, Marcy? Do you want to just check them out in the Q&A?
Yeah, if you don't mind reading them, that'd be great.
Sure. All right,
Thank
let's
you.
see here. The first one in here says, let me actually put it on this screen here. Our 89 unit HOA is paying Comcast $83,000 annual for cable and internet. Oh, this is just, okay, they just needed guidance. Okay, you got it. All right, let's see here. And you answered this. Does Hotwire offer a package including internet, TV, cable channels, and phone? Let's mix this one. All right, let's see here. Yes, I know, you answered it. What is the standard starting default upload and download speeds offered on new contracts?
Currently, we're offering 300 up and 300 down. And again, that's dedicated fiber to the home, but we can go all the way up to 10 gigs. Not that you need that.
Very good. What is the status of the law which prevented cable providers from suspending the account of a resident when they became delinquent on their HOA dues, forcing the HOA to pay the base rate with no recovery from the owner? Do you know anything about that, Marcy?
I can't comment on the law, but I know we do get requests to shut off their internet and TV cable. So yes, we can do that. We are a provider that we will accommodate that request.
Okay.
Unfortunately, it does happen, and it seems to work to get them to pay.
Will the ISP bear the cost to bring fiber into a community, or will that be the cost of the community?
With Hotwire, there are no startup fees. We actually provide incentives. And for those of you that are looking at some projects that are coming up, we do give the option for door fees.
Perfect. That's actually the next question. So is a door fee typical during a renewal with the same provider?
That's something I can't comment on because I'm not involved on the renewal process, but if that person wants to reach out to me, I can get that answer for them.
Perfect. And Marcy's email is right here on the screen. So if you want to just reach out to her directly. Let's see here. What about a door fee for bulk installation?
Yeah, that's something that we do offer.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's see here. I'm just trying to go through. Let's see. In a bulk agreement, do providers offer different levels of services? For example, some people want all the stations that come with a cable box. Others just want the internet and want to buy streaming services like Netflix. Those folks want to customize their service by paying a nominal fee for internet and additionally pay for the apps they want.
So that's a great question, Ashley, and I want to thank that person for asking that question. So whatever the community decides to, whatever options they choose, the resident will have options to upgrade. So say, for instance, they go with the basic digital lineup package, then the resident will have the option to upgrade if they want like additional sports channels, or and then the apps are totally separate. So, one thing about our set-top box, it has 4 megabytes of RAM. So you can download all you want. You'll never run out of room in downloading apps. So they can choose what apps they want, and those are all separate. But when it comes to the type of digital lineup package, whatever the property decides on, the residents will have a one-on-one consultation, and we'll do a bill comparison, and we'll make sure that they get what they have. And if there's any upgrades that they would like to choose above and beyond what the association contracted for, they'll be available to them at that time.
Perfect. Let's see here. If we choose a fiber provider, the install will take around 6 months or more. However, if Comcast finds out that you'll be dropping them, they can cancel the contract in 30 days. How do you ensure that residents don't lose their internet and cable during the time before the fiber is installed?
That's also a fantastic question. That's why I say 2 years before your contract ends is the best time to get in touch with us, so that we can plan and prepare so you don't run into that situation.
Mm-hmm. Let's see here. And what about transitions? So like, what is the process for you guys with transitions? Because we're seeing somebody else on here, that's talking about just transitions and lead time.
So that's why we have a dedicated launch account team that is 9 to 5 on your property. And we have a dedicated launch manager and a project manager, so the residents can go and speak with them one-on-one whenever they have any questions. And then once it transitions, after the installation is finished, it transitions to operations, and then you'll have a dedicated account manager for the life of the contract.
Perfect. And what was it here? It was a good one. Oh, what is the average time from signing the contract to laying fiber?
So that all depends. So I can't really give you a timeline on that. And there's so many factors that are in play when it comes to determining whether or not we have to build a head end on your property, depending on how many units there are. There's a lot of factors that play into that. And we're very much about customizing. We're not generic cookie cutter company. So each community has its own situation, and we're there to help accommodate. And we will give a timeline so that everyone's on the same page, and we'll meet with you on a regular basis so everyone knows how the process is going.
Mm-hmm. Do you find more and more associations are going with bulk internet because there's so many streaming services, like just the bulk internet?
When it comes to cost wise, it's almost like a no-brainer just to go with both, because for just a fraction more, you're getting both. So that way you're giving your residents, some of them are old-fashioned. They still like the live TV with the channel lineup guide.
Yeah. And it's funny, we just got another one of those questions. So yes, you can, your residents get to choose if they want
internet only or, both. So this one, let's see here. And let's see here. Okay, does Hotwire only serve the Florida area?
Actually, we're in 10 states now.
Very good. Which 10 states?
Oh my goodness, you're putting me on the spot here.
Oh, sorry.
We've got
That was my question
off
after
the
you
top
said
of my
it.
head. Okay, we've got Pennsylvania, we have Arizona, we have Georgia, we have the Carolinas, we have Nevada, we have California. Oh, by the way, we just installed 7,000 units out in Playa Vista. So bear with me here off the top of my head. Did I cover all this?
Sorry, that was me. It was my question. What about New York? Do you service New York? Someone actually did specifically ask for New York.
Okay, no, not yet.
Not New York yet. Not New York. All right, let's see here.
But we're growing exponentially, and Blackstone became an investor, so that's allowed for our expansion of our infrastructure, which has been a great partnership. Even though we are privately owned, Kristen and Michael Karp started the company back in 2002, and it's just been an amazing ride. I'm really proud to be part of it, and I'm just so happy that I was able to give you this class today, and I hope I answered most of your questions. But if there's any other questions that you have, please feel free to contact me, email me, call me. I mean, I could talk technology all day. And when it came to my properties, my boards used to look at me like I was an alien on another planet because I was all about technology.
Oh, that's awesome.
So,
That's great. That's great. Do you have you want to do a few more questions before we end at 1?
yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Okay. How long is a typical contract?
10 years.
10 years. Okay, perfect. Let's see here. And what is the ballpark cost to convert from cable to fiber optic? Can you do a ballpark on that?
Oh, like I said, we customize. Every community is different. I really can't give you a number because there's so many factors that play into it. But we'd be happy to meet with you and have a discussion. And
let me see
one thing
here.
about
I had a
Hotwire,
feeling you were going to say that because that's the same thing with us. Like people will ask us, and I was like, well, every community is different. You're going to get a custom solution, which is something nice when you customize, but it's hard to just say, lump them here. So yeah, I totally understand.
you really want to come here and do the tour. And you will see our Hotwire Technology Center. It's 185,000 square feet here in Fort Lauderdale, and we'll give you a tour of our Network Operations Center, and we'll discuss everything behind the scenes, and we'll talk about redundancy, and you'll see how we have generators that are, I mean, the way this building is maintained, I wish that I knew the chief engineer when I was managing my luxury high rises, because there's so much that we do here that I used to try to implement when I was managing properties. And I'm just so proud to give board members and managers that tour because nobody really realizes what goes on behind the scenes. And we're here 24/7. And that's how we operate with our fiber. I mean, anything that goes down, God forbid, there's a fiber cut, and it happens. I had a resident that decided to build a pool and their contractor didn't call before they dug. We're out there right away. We have our teams, and you'll learn all that when you come for the tour. It's a great educational experience. You'll get to see our Fission Education Center. We now have 3 centers within our building here, and we do virtual education in person and by phone.
Thanks for watching. For more great educational content, click the subscribe button now.